Well, it is 4 o'clock, top of the hour, and this is Drew Wash, and I'm here live from my office. Me, my dog, my wife in the other room, Toby back here, and I'm here to talk with you, your towing companies across the U.S. about marketing and what life looks like, ways to generate business going forward. So. It is live, and I do encourage and hope that you will comment. So whether you're watching on YouTube Live, or Facebook Live, please comment. There's a delay in getting things to me, but ultimately I will see the comments and be able to answer them. But even if there's not an interaction, which I hope there will be, I have lots of great content for you. In fact, I kept adding and adding and adding more content. The more conversations I had with towing companies, the more I heard what they were, questions, the concerns they had, the more concerns you had, the more I just wanted to add and I just wanted to give. So this is, of course, a free web broadcast brought to you by Towing.com. But realistically, I'm not here to sell you anything. I'm just here to do what I can to help your towing company grow and generate more business. So that's realistic. This is just a gift, and hopefully it is received well, and hopefully it helps you accomplish your goals. Because ultimately, that's what we're out to do, is to achieve goals, right? It's what we have for Towing.com. A reason why I run my business, and certainly why you run your business. And here all together, we'll hopefully be able to kick some butt. So I do show we have several people with me, so thanks for joining me. And well, let's jump into some content. So I'm getting fancy this time. If you joined me on Zoom last week, it didn't quite go very well. And other than looks like my monitor, my camera is maybe getting a little dark, a little light at times. Hopefully this is an upgrade, and we'll get better. So hopefully you have a mentality of continual improvement. I know I do, so we're always trying to get better at anything we're doing. So that goes for this as well. So we'll try Zoom again in the future, but for now, let's do this. Well, let's get to some content. So ask questions as you have them, but realistically, what I want to do is, and I'll be looking around because I have several different screens. I have lots of stuff I want to bring to you. Let me start with this, though. Life likely feels really complicated right now, and there's while you feel it, you know it, it's in your business. Things are not normal. Things are very much there's a lot of businesses that pretty much everything's gone, and there's no business to be had. Luckily, things are hopefully starting to pick back up. I noticed this week, especially here, Cincinnati, Ohio, where we're based, traffic is just like ridiculous again. I hate traffic. I don't know how the drivers do it. I can't stand traffic. But all too often, when it comes to running our business or generating business for our companies, we really make things really complicated. And that goes for marketing especially. There's so many things that you could spend your time on that it looks like this, right? It looks like a complicated mess of formulas that you may not understand. I guess I should say, looks like this over here. It's what do you work on? Everybody is out there yelling at you, calling you on your phone, telling you that they have the solution to help your business grow, and we get distracted quite a bit. I was just talking to Jason, who sent me over a report that a marketing company sent him, and I looked over this thing, and it was so complicated. They were talking about all these different things that they believe that his company need to improve to help their internet marketing. And I'm just sitting here like my brain is like, most of this stuff doesn't matter. And if he spends his time worrying about all the different things they have in these marketing reports, it's very much like this. It's this crazy formula. Well, realistically, what we want to do and what I want to do on this broadcast a little bit is to try to I can't see. Okay, this here, not building blocks. I want to simplify. I want to simplify it and talk about some basics. Let me move around here a little bit to try to see some of the stuff I have going on here a little better. So, okay. So how can we simplify our marketing? How can we simplify your life? This is something that's near and dear to my heart, the idea of simplification. Everything I do, I try to keep it simple. So let's talk a little bit about just marketing in general at first and what our goals are. So mentioned goals early on, and that is, I'm sure you're out to provide for your family, to provide stable employment for your employees, to make your dreams come true, to be able to travel or whatever it is that you're looking to do in your life, to have an impact on your community. What is it that you're even working for? What is it that you're out to impact? Well, in order to accomplish all of that, to order to do what you're looking to do, realistically, you are looking to increase revenue, and these are some of the ways that we look to increase revenue. So revenue is just the means to help us reach our goals, right? You want to go on a vacation, you're going to need revenue. You're going to need enough money to do that. Need a new truck, revenue, right? It's not the goal. It may sometimes feel like the goal, but the goal is not necessarily the revenue. The goal is what's behind it. Revenue is how we manage to reach our goals. Often, we spend our time thinking about revenue and we get stuck. These are what I call the three toggles of revenue. So if you want to increase revenue for your company, there's only three things you can do. If you want to look at it a complicated way, these can be broken down to a zillion different things, but there's only three things that your company can do to increase revenue. You can increase your customers. This first toggle here, you want more customers, boom, that's how you can increase your revenue, right? A lot of times that's where everybody spends. That's if you were to ask most companies what they want for marketing, it's more customers. But there's other ones. There's price. If you increase your price, you can increase revenue. How can you increase price? Well, I'll talk a little bit about that later on because a lot of towing companies out there can increase price. But you got to follow a little bit of a formula and have a plan for doing that. And we'll talk about that a little bit here. But and then the third one is frequency. The same customers that you have, can you get them to use you more frequently or for maybe more services? Can you add a service that they already need, that you already have the skills, equipment to provide? So those are the only three things that you can change and increase to increase revenue. So like I said, we're just trying to simplify here. We're taking what marketing is and everything that all these guys like me, these experts are all out there. We make it so complicated, but just those three things. So next we want to talk about, okay, well, how do we get to increase these different toggles? What are some of the ways that we do those things? And you might be happy to know there's only two things that increase all three of these toggles. The first is awareness. So this is a way, I talked a little bit about this last week. There's awareness. This is what a lot of times people think of with advertising. So they have to know about you. You can be the greatest tower in the entire world. You can be able to make cars do backflips as they land on your flatbed. Whatever it is. But if people don't know about you, if they're not aware of you, your services, your expertise, then you don't matter, right? You might as well be just the greatest tower sitting in your basement on the computer telling everybody how amazing you are, which we all know people that kind of do that kind of thing. So let me just give you an example of awareness, an awareness business, or what this looks like and how it can be used to increase customers, increase frequency, increase price. And that is the greatest company out there for it, and that's this company here, McDonald's, right? We don't go there for their quality. We go to McDonald's because we're aware of them. They're always there. I have one 200 yards from my house. I have one a quarter mile from my office here. They're everywhere. Like they play the awareness card. These are the companies. If you want to play the awareness card, which a lot of towing companies want to, I think there's other ways that you can do it, and I'll talk to you about number two. But the number one, awareness, this is the most expensive way to increase price, frequency, and number of customers. Awareness is vital, but at the same time, look, we're competing against McDonald's, for attention, you're competing with everybody else out there, every other marketing message out there. You're not going to develop a brand like McDonald's. So, and even the motor clubs, right? A local towing company is going to have trouble establishing a brand against like a AAA. Everybody knows AAA. You can't really compete branding wise with AAA awareness wise, because awareness wise they know this, but all we need to do is let them know about you. So anyhow, so awareness is number one, and so all of marketing is boiled down to these two building blocks: awareness, and then the number two one is this right here, authority. So there's awareness, and then there's authority. So authority. Well, let me just start with this. My wife is she is well known. She's far more popular than me. Everybody loves her, and she is a travel agent. Years ago I talked her into becoming a travel agent because, well, we like to travel, and I was like, hey, why don't you become a travel agent? Then you can always, all that time you spend looking for cruises and vacations can be used to help other people as well. So I talked her into it. She beats me up on that fact pretty frequently. Uh, anyhow, so she is a travel agent, has been for like 10 years now. And she is really good at her job. She lacks awareness, though. Like a lot of people don't know about it. She says that it's on purpose because she spends a lot of time with all of her customers. But how does she show authority? Well, she's 10 years in the industry. She has a good-looking website. She presents herself. She may lack awareness, but she has authority. When people talk to her about travel, they know that this is a person who travels. This is a person who is an expert in their field. That's authority, the expertise. So, in fact, let me just start with this way. Let me try this. I'm Drew Walsh, owner, creator, Towing.com. Not just Towing.com. I actually own the company that created and started Towing.com, but it's moving sites. And what we do is we take premium domain names like Towing.com and we share them with their industries. So we don't just run Towing.com. We run a lot of rather large brands for different industries. So DJs.com, so like DJs, photo booths, towing, a lot in the auto transport industry. We do a lot in internet marketing, and I am very much an expert at helping local businesses generate business using premium domains in the internet. That's authority. That's my authority. As far as developing domain names for the purpose of internet marketing, there's no one else in the world that competes with what it is that I do. It's a corner that is my authority. If somebody needs somebody to develop a domain name for the purpose of bringing value to an industry, yes, it is niche, but it is mine. And I have the authority in that. But just the name Towing.com in itself, of all the domain names out there that can represent the towing industry, what is the best one? Well, Towing.com. It has authority and weight associated with just the name. That's authority. So you need two pieces. Authority is the second. First, people need to know about it, and then they need to know that there's something behind it. There's meat behind it. So let me move on here a little bit. And when we mix these two together, awareness and authority. These are how we move the toggles that increase revenue. If you concentrate all of your free time when you're not serving customers on increasing your awareness or increasing your authority, you will grow your business. Just a fact. It's something that I've been doing for 20 years, and it, like this is all you have to do: increase awareness and authority, and it's as simple as that. And all too often, we try to complicate it with different formulas, different tactics, the latest, um, whatever the latest trends are out there. Realistically, new websites pop up all the day, all the time, new social platforms. All these things are just tools to help you with one of these things: awareness or authority. Which one are you increasing by doing anything? And if you're doing something and you don't know that it affects your awareness or your authority, you're probably just spinning your wheels and you need to stop doing it. So let me just put this in a little bit of context. I talked a little bit about this last week, and that is, here we are. Uh, we have coronavirus going on. It's affected our businesses drastically over the last month, especially. It's going to, a business coach of mine, Darren Hardy, he said that a third of businesses will not reopen or not make it 30 days past like the official open back from Corona or back from these lockdowns that everybody's under. A third of businesses. And when I heard that, I'm like, that's just crazy. That's just not possible. But we already know that a lot of businesses are already closing. Towing has a little bit more staying power because we're essential, but ultimately, there's a lot of tower. Like your company is impacted by things. You know this. There's some towing companies that are better off than others. And the fact is we've already known of several towing companies that are closing, likely never to open again. But a lot in the restaurant industries and other industries as well, just they're not going to reopen. So, in fact, he said that it's going to be a year from now, a year from when everything is open, reopened, 2/3 of all businesses are they're going to be closed by then. They're not going to make it a year. 2/3. These are some numbers that are tossed around the business community. Darren's used to be the publisher of Success Magazine, runs a huge business coaching, great guy. Anyhow, but 2/3 of businesses, and again, it's we got to eat. We need restaurants, but the restaurants that are out there right now, if they've concentrated on having great dining rooms, if they can't afford to redo their dining room in whatever this post-corona world, they're not going to be the same business. They're going to close, and whatever's new is going to come and replace them. So the towing companies that do the best job of being ready for this new world are going to be the companies that get all the business, right? We know that towing's still going to exist, but realistically, there's going to be less cars on the road, even if it's just a little bit, which is going to result in less towing companies. So it's really important to, increase awareness, increase authority, and be doing the things necessary to grow. So, and the reason why I bring that up is because let's say we're at day zero. Day zero, everything's back and open, and we're standing at the starting line, depending on whether we're a brand new company or a company that's been established for a really long time, and we're ready to get going again. We have just a few options for what you can spend your time on, depending on where you are as a company. The first one I talked about last week is the pay-per-click. You're going to get quick results, right? So pay-per-click is where you put money in, you immediately increase awareness because the search engines are going to find you. You're paying Google to show you, and then that awareness, then you're paying, and every click, every lead is all costing you money. So the awareness is only as good as your pocketbook, but you can get instant awareness. So I have a question over here. Um, so somebody just said, how can we, how can me, I guess, me personally or Towing.com sleep when some of the companies will close soon? Um, and I'll just say this, how do I sleep? Well, I honestly don't sleep very much because I'm very much worried about all of the towing companies out there. That's why I'm doing this right now. Spent numerous hours preparing to uh, preparing to deliver free content to towing companies in order to help you be one of the towing companies that succeed, one of the ones that make it past all of this. So, but yeah, I sleep knowing that I'm doing the best I can to help my towing companies win the internet. Period. So, I mean, good question. I'm guessing that's a little bit of a dig or something, but ultimately, as long as I'm doing the right things, I have the right values guiding me in my company. I sleep pretty good, but I do spend a lot of time nowadays trying to make sure that I can help your company and the companies on Towing.com uh, do the things they need to be successful in the future. So let me talk. Pay per click is the instant. That's the quick traffic, and you pay. And I talked about it last week. It's just the riskiest one because once the money runs out, your exposure goes away. So a lot of companies can have a lot of success really quickly, but if you're not building things in the back end to take advantage of that, ultimately, uh, whoever has the biggest pocketbook, whoever's willing to pay the most per click, is going to be the one that wins that pool of business. So maybe the starting line post Corona, this is where you maybe want to put some time or some money just to make sure that you're ramping up. And if you're a new company, chances are you have to start here. You have to start with paid traffic or the people that you know that can bring you traffic. Motor clubs in the towing industry, I think, kind of fall in this area. The motor club decides who gets that business. You don't pay them necessarily for a lead or an order, but you are very much paying them by charging their rates, providing and letting them control different pieces of your business. So I consider them to fall kind of in those quick results. Of course, you know better than me as far as getting set up with them and maintaining that relationship could take a really long time. So likely not really quick, but it kind of falls in that early part. So the second piece is, the social media piece. So let me show you. So let me move my mouse over here. So let's say we're here. So what are these things that we're supposed to be doing early on and that will impact things? So yes, right now from the starting line, we can concentrate on pay per click. But there's also things that we need to make sure we're doing to capitalize on those customers that we're generating from pay per click. So say you put thousands of dollars in, you're getting customers through your pay per click, they're finding you, they're using your services. If you don't do something to help that business benefit you in the future, uh, you're kind of wasting that money. So this increase in blue here for the social media, and we'll talk about the orange here in a little bit, but this means every time you serve a customer, get them to post something. Take a picture with you and them, whatever it is, post it. This is you taking that business that you're paying for and using it to develop a brand. And hopefully there's word of mouth. And you're using that money that you're spending on instant results and exposure and awareness to create awareness through social media. So you can also do paid ads in social media, although towing, because towing is so frequently we need it just right now in this moment, it doesn't really go well for social media ads, but you're welcome to try it. Of course, pay per click, social media, those are not things that I do that we do for towing companies. That you would need to find a third party or a company out there that can handle those. Lots of marketing companies handle with that. Lots in the towing industry, especially. So look them up. Just Google for towing marketing or towing pay per click or Google Ads for towing companies. So that's one of the ways that you can do it. So take that pay per click traffic, take the customers you have currently, and try to get them involved in social media, just mentioning you and tagging you. And we'll talk about how to set all this up a little bit in the next little piece as we talk about the foundational pieces for marketing for your company. But the third piece is the long-term results. This is what you want to hang your business's hat on as you grow. This is business that you own. This is business that you don't have to pay somebody $1 to get 50 cents back or $2 back or whatever. This is, you own this. This is your company's brand. So just like McDonald's, they put a bunch of money in, and now they own this brand, this namesake. And that's this orange piece here, which is the content and SEO, which is search engine optimization. And this graph, by the way, comes from a SEMrush, which is a search engine marketing company, SEMrush.com. So they talk about and help people with search engine optimization. It's a tool that we use. So as you'll see here, it talks about how content and search engine optimization are the pieces for this. That is how you increase your internet visibility, your awareness, and your authority. That's the key, is it helps both with awareness and authority, which, as I've mentioned, those are the only two pieces that matter. Pay-per-click, all based on pretty much awareness. People know that the ads are there because people pay for it. You're paying for awareness. Social media is a mix of awareness and some authority, because there's a customer sharing their story, so there's social proof, which gives you some authority. But ultimately, content SEO, that is all awareness built on authority. It's why it's the most valuable. You can charge the highest rates. You can have the highest closing prices and closing percentages and things, all through this long-term results. So the biggest companies out there, this is what they hang their hat on. It's their brand. People search for them specifically, not just Cincinnati Towing or Toledo Towing or San Diego Towing or whatever it is that they're searching for on Google. So this helps. So let me go over that real quick. So how do we? I'm not going to talk about pay-per-click. I'm not really going to talk about social media. I want to spend a lot of time on this long-term results. And over here at day 0. So how is it that what do we need to be doing now to give us and put us on a trajectory of this long-term results? I assume that everybody out there wants to own business. You want your company to exist well into the future, and you want people to just call you and do business with you without having to be the highest bidder on pay-per-click or needing to concentrate on all the little tactic things that happen in marketing. And this is where we hang our hat. We spend a lot of time in these long-term sections. Towing.com is all this. We don't bid, we don't do any pay-per-click stuff trying to reach towing customers. That's completely outside of our arena. So all of our awareness, most of the time, I pull it up here if anybody's interested, but I know we're up over $500,000 every single month. A lot of times we're close to $1 million in traffic that comes to Towing.com. All that traffic is this. It's based on content and search engine optimization. We don't pay for that. That's not part of this over here. Okay, so let me move on to how we can do this. So I'm just reading some comments that's coming in through Facebook. Ivan is asking, what about specific measurements, specifically from Towing.com? Let me talk about that. Let me see where. Okay, that will come up here in a little bit. But as far as specific measurements of any of your specific advertising, this is by far the hardest to measure out here. So this is where Towing.com helps you. Pay-per-click is nice and easy because you put $100 in. They tell you how many people click on it. They tell you how many leads. Everything's spelled out for you. But as you get out in here, this is such a long-term game that a lot of times it's a little more difficult to measure. But I will show you. We could talk about that a little bit. remind me to come back to that, some measurement stuff on that, because I don't think I have that plan to talk about it. But I want to talk about what you can be doing specifically to increase your awareness and your authority over time. So, and by the way, I'm not talking a lot of Towing.com specifically. I'm the owner of Towing.com. I want to talk about Towing.com, but for the most part, I want you to get stuff from this that you can apply to your business regardless of whether you're Towing.com or not. I just want to help your company going forward. But I will talk, a lot of this stuff applies to it. I'll mention it as I go along, but all of this can apply regardless of whether you're a Towing.com member or not. So there's good information here. So how do we increase awareness and authority? Well, we take advantage of something called internet content permanency, and that's just some phrase I just made up for the most part. It says exactly what it is, though. We use the internet, we put some content up, and it's there permanently because what happens on the internet stays on the internet. So this is what we want to take advantage of. Awareness and authority using internet content permanency. Let me explain what that means a little bit. So you ever, I've said that I have an 18-year-old son, and like he has a flip phone. He always wants a smartphone. I'm like, dude, let me just protect you. You don't need to have the camera because, well, if I had a camera on my phone at all times when I was a teenager, I'd be scared of the videos that I'd be putting out there. Like I think it all the time, like, man, I can't believe, anyhow, you don't want the videos of you doing stupid stuff on the internet because the internet's forever. And in fact, let me just drop this on here real quick. This is it, right? This is, you try something new, you have a camera rolling, and you drop it out there. Next thing you know, you look like a fool on the internet forever, just like that. I'm sure she was so close. So close. Okay, but that's internet content permanency. I'm sure she does not want that out there, but forever she falls in the puddle. So we can use this. We can use the fact that the internet's forever to benefit your company forever without Towing.com, and I'll show you the building blocks that you need to do it. But realistically, you can use this just like I use this all the time. We use this to build our company. You can use it to build your company as well. Let's use what's on the internet. And let me move to the next slide. I'm sorry, this is so awkward when I move to the next slides. Like I said, I'm trying new things here, and I obviously need to get better at it. And basically, what we can do is we can use internet content permanency to save time. That's what we're out to do. We can use it to not only get more awareness, get authority, but also to save time. And then the beauty of it is to do that, you have to work hard once. You just have to work hard once. So the more frequently you work hard, the better off you are, but you just need to work hard on it once. For example, when we put a new feature on Towing.com, we'll spend weeks on that feature and putting it together and then launching it onto the site for content creation and to get that into Google and to get that shared out across the web. We work hard on it once, and then that starts to go to work for a long period of time. So you work hard once, but then once the work's done, you just back up away from it. And that's this here, just the idea that this is the formula that we want to use. This is kind of the secret sauce of everything that I've ever done, and I'm just passing on the simple building blocks to you. All you need is awareness and authority. Use some internet content permanency as far as internet marketing, and then work hard on it once. I know you guys have a bunch of stuff to do other than worry about internet marketing. If you spend some time on each little piece of this once, then you can benefit from it from a long time. And I'll just give you a little example. So all of this here, all of these different factors over here come down to, you may know what if you're a heavy internet marketing person, this is internet. It's content marketing. This is content marketing is one of the ways that you can do this. What the heck's content marketing? Well, I do this stuff for 20 years, but every once in a while you have to go do a little Google. So I just did that, and I'm going to show you what content marketing is, how it applies to your company by showing you what content marketing is. So I did a search for a content marketing guide. This might be any search you can apply to your industry. So, towing tips, Cincinnati towing tips, things to avoid when choosing a towing company. We'll talk about some of the things that you can create, but it's content. In this case, they're providing a guide. This guide that they've put on the internet to tell you what content marketing is it generates, this is $7,000 a month in traffic that they're generating from this link that's there. That's for their internet company, but the same thing goes for towing companies. If you could rank in the search engines, okay, so pay-per-click, if you put $1,000 in, you get $1,000 of exposure. Pay-per-click puts your ad in the search engine results. Hopefully that makes sense. You show up in the search engine results. There's content in the search engine results that you don't have to pay. They don't have to pay to show up there. When you search, you probably know this. There's the maps. You can pay to be there, but most people, you don't have to pay to be there. But how does Google choose who's there? Well, you have to rank well. That's the search engine optimization. Hopefully that makes sense. So by getting natural content to show up in the search engine rankings where you don't have to pay for it, that is what is worth $7,000 a month. So instead of paying $7,000 a month to show up for pay-per-click for, in this case, the content marketing guide is the keyword, instead of paying $7,000 a month to do that, they get that free because they put together this page on this website. Let me just show you what it is. So in fact, this is a free guide. It's something that if you search for, content marketing for beginners or whatever else, this is a free guide. You can go check it out. In fact, it's a huge guide. It's actually, 9 chapters long. I think I measured it. It's huge. It's this big guide. And here's the thing. It's free. They give this to you free, and they use it to generate $7,000 a month. And better yet, they do it. And look at this. Awareness and authority. They're showing up. They have the awareness, and they're now the person that's showing up naturally without paying to be there, it gives them that authority. So now if they want to sell you their product on the back end, they have that authority. You as a towing company, when you show up in the search engine results, you have authority as a company in that area. Now what's on your website, what you provide for that visitor is what's going to decide whether they call you and go, can you beat $80 for that tow? Or whether they just call you to order with you. That's authority. If you lack the authority, the only thing they can do is base your business on price. So if you have a real price issue, if you have a thing where everybody's always knocking you down, getting you to pay the lowest price, charge the lowest prices, you have an authority issue. You need to increase your authority to where they no longer ask, how can I get a lower price? Instead, they are calling you to order. How can I do business with you, Drew's Towing? Are you available to tow me? I do business with lots of companies without ever asking them what their prices are because I trust their company. They have great authority. That's what we want to create for your company is authority to where they just call you and do business with you, not treat you like all these knucklehead companies and try to base it on price. You don't want to compete on price, right? Nobody out there, everybody watching here, you don't want to compete on price. You want your authority to allow you to charge what you want to charge, what you need to charge to make your dreams come true. So, okay, a little bit of a tangent, but the traffic that they're generating off this, And hopefully this looks familiar. Does this look familiar to you? Here's what I mean by that. Let me go back. So this is the traffic that page, their content marketing guide, generates. Okay, and this is the value, the money that they generate over time. So you can see it starts off really small and increases over time. And as you can see here, this is where they're generating like $7,000 a month. Month after month after month, they're generating all this value and traffic and awareness and this great authority because people are finding them when they're searching for something specific. That is $7,000 a month in traffic that they're generating. And I think that looks an awful lot like, let me pull it up here. Doesn't that look a lot like this here? You see that? The slow, gradual, and then just boom, just rocking it out $7,000 a month, week after week, month after month. So that's the power of what we're talking about when we talk about content marketing and just having that long term of what you do. So let me move this over a little bit because you might be wondering, what is it that they did right here? What did they do here that gave them this growth and this value for their traffic and their awareness? Well, what they did was they took action to create that guide, right? They worked hard once, created some content that would be very helpful to their visitors, to the people searching for something that they provide. They created and worked hard on it once, and then they just put it out on the web. And then over time, it grew. So that's what's happening here. And you'll see that in this case, what's that? I don't know. It looks like it's maybe a year before they really got a ton of traffic on that. So, but yeah, hopefully that illustrates it. Like, feel free to ask questions. I know there's a delay, but I want to make sure that I'm kind of clear. Hopefully, even though I'm not spelling it out for towing all that much, hopefully these kind of theories and these principles, you're getting ideas and on how to apply them to your business. Because ultimately, that's what you need, right? You got to use that brain, use your experience. But let's spell it out a little bit for you. Let me go over to the foundation side. So basically what I talked about a little bit, we have I put it together a long time ago. This is going to be a little awkward, but I'm just going to try this. Okay, bear with me. I'm bringing over a window here. I think, no, it's not actually working. Okay. Well, I am going to do this. So here is a website that I put together a while back. It is shared in the internet marketing group on for Towing.com. And this is the URL up here. I can email this to you if you don't have it. It's info.towing.com and 4-part Internet Marketing Foundations. I mentioned this last week a little bit, and basically what this is it's me teaching some very basic, the things that you need to do day one to make sure your company is ready for the trajectory to go. And I'm just going to talk briefly about these and just run through these. But I can get you that link if you need it. If you don't have it, I'll get that out to you. Let me pull that down off here. But okay, so what we want to do is we want to figure out how we can get your business, some traffic. We want you to be on the trajectory for success as far as your internet goes. So what do you even need to do that? Like, if you're starting a towing company and you know that the internet's going to be one of the sources for your business, what do you need? Well, first, I believe that you need to make sure that you get a website. If nothing else, get a domain name. That's video 1 in that series, how to register a domain name. You can point it to your Towing.com profile. You can point it to your Towing.com, or you can point it to your Facebook page, your Google My Business page, whatever. It doesn't even have to be a web page. It just needs to be a domain name, because that domain name is what the search engines are going to start picking up. I do recommend getting a website, but that's one of those things where you can spend a lot of time and money on. There are, let me try to find it real quick. But there's a place called Card. Let me get the website for you. So if you're just starting off, this might be helpful. It's carrd.co, carrd.co. And if you just kind of Google or search for Card with 2 R's, it's basically a website that I think it's like $10 a year, and they make it really easy for you to build a website. And I'll show you what to put on that website. Actually, I'll show you that right now. Well, I'll show you that here in a minute. But you don't need much on it. All you're trying to do with your website is lay a foundation. That's why we call this the foundations class. You just need to make sure that all the work that you do on the internet, if you do pay-per-click, if you do any search engine or social media, you have to have a foundation to where you're building your business on your brand. And if you don't have a website, you're not doing that. I see company after company nowadays that they take the easy path, they build a Towing.com page, and that's all they ever do. They see it show up in Google and they're like, yes, that's me. It's like, no, that's not you. That's freaking Facebook. And if Facebook decides to put ads up on that and just show other towing companies they can do that, have a Facebook page, but do not build that as your company's internet face. That Card company is one that's nice and cheap. You can just drop some images and things in there. Do something other than Facebook. Hopefully that makes sense. There's lots of companies out there that can build you a website, search engine friendly website. But get that website, get a domain name. If you have that, then let's move on to number 2. That video on that Internet Marketing Foundations does talk about how to get a domain name, how to forward it, and question about the Google Local Pack. I'll talk about that here in just actually possibly right now. So boom, right here, number 2. This is foundational. This is you have a website. Like even before you really, like as you're starting, hopefully you already have this. I've seen companies that are really old companies that still don't have this stuff, and you really need it. So have a website, but then number 2 is your Google My Business account. You need to register it and claim it. And I show you in video number 3 of that 4-part series how to do that. You don't have to pay. There's companies out there that'll charge you several $100s to do that. Don't waste the money. It's a free thing that you can do. You just need to kind of know the steps to do it. You can Google it even. I would show you, except for I know that I'm just like taking a ton of time and I don't want to spend too much time on that. But that video shows you how to do that. And now the Google My Business piece is how you show up in the Google Local Pack. It's how you show up on the maps. So anything local on Google is all based off of the Google My Business. So that's why you have to have that. And you have to have it. If you want to do a good job, you have to have it claimed. I know a lot of big cities, especially, they see there's companies that come in and they game the system and show up there even if they don't have a claimed or even a legit Google My Business thing. Don't go chasing, that carrot, trying to figure out how that's done. It's garbage. Don't do it. Stick to the foundation. Stick to the basics. And that is, make sure your company is registered and make sure you've claimed it. Basically, search for your address on Google. It'll pull up the address with the photo of the building, and then there'll be an option to claim it. Just log into your Google account, claim it. They'll send you a postcard with the code and instructions. But once you've done that, the question is, how do you get that to rank, right? So I talk about that in part 4 of the Internet Foundations piece. And I could talk about that a little bit with this next step, which is you need a website. You need to make sure you're registered on Google, and everything else falls under the other stuff or the other crap. Like realistically, Yelp, Towing.com even. All of the other marketing is like other stuff. Do it, but you mainly do the other stuff to support the other stuff that number 1 and 2. So you want to increase your awareness, you want to increase your authority. Like having a website is a foundational piece. Having your Google My Business, those are the things that you like what you're trying to increase awareness of. All the other stuff when you're looking at internet marketing is they're tools to help you increase awareness or authority. They're not as foundational. Now, what you will want to do is you'll want to go around, you'll want to register a page on Facebook. You want to make sure that you claim your company or add your company to Yelp. We all hate Yelp, but you know it's needed. Create a Towing.com profile or become a featured member on Towing.com. These are things that when you do it, there are other things that you'll want to do, but only because they help number 1 and number 2. Okay? Towing.com and even other sites like Yelp or all like Towing.com, the main thing that we do is help your website rank higher. We help your website rank higher. It's like a guaranteed thing. I go into it on a SEO video that you can find. You can email me, Drew@Towing.com, and I can get you any of the links. If you're like, hey, can you tell me more or send me the link to this? We talk about that in the SEO piece. If you have your website and it's on your Towing.com profile, when we link to it, your website goes up higher. Like that's it. Number 1, that's like what we're looking to accomplish is getting your website to go higher. Same with Google. Towing.com verifies Google data. So when your address on that you've registered your Google My Business account matches your Towing.com profile, essentially what we're doing is we're saying, Google, this company is a towing company and they are at this address. Our information matches yours, which Google says, hey, thanks Towing.com. Now we know that we can comfortably rank them higher. So a lot of times what we get questions on is how do I measure Towing.com's business? How do I measure what Towing.com does for us? And that's such a complicated question that I needed a long video just to go into. But when your website goes up higher, there's really nothing that we can do to like measure the traffic that we've increased your website on. But that's Towing.com helping with that. Same with your Google My Business. Like when you rank higher and you're showing up for more keywords and stuff, that's business that Towing.com is helping you generate, but we don't, of course, get credit for it. A lot of times number 1 reason people cancel Towing.com is they sign up, they're there for a month or 2, and they're like, hey, I didn't get anything off it. Nobody called me up, said Towing.com, I'm done with this. I'm canceling it. And it's kind of like, don't do that, dude. Like, your website's going up in the rankings. You're getting, like, they don't say Towing.com. They're saying, I found you on the internet. Like, it's just, as long as your website's linked, as long as your local stuff is matching what Google has and you have your Google My Business, it's going to work. Now, what you're actually looking for is you're looking to know that you got a call directly from Towing.com, which that happens as well. But here's where that falls. Let me go back over to this. That looks more like this. So it doesn't take this long. Yeah, this is showing like a couple years. It takes Google time to show up it takes Google time. So let's say you're the first company in Topeka or something. I'm not sure. Name your city. Okay. Cincinnati. If you're the first company that's there, Towing.com's page for Cincinnati towing companies is really weak. We barely have anybody there. There's barely any content. But as that page grows and Google knows about it more, now there's more and more traffic for that page specifically that is going out to our featured members. Now, luckily, Towing.com's old enough that we generate quite a bit of traffic just as far as like nationwide traffic. And some of that traffic does end up well, a lot of it ends up for our featured members. So I'm searching real quick. I'm going to pull this up and I will share the screen. Hopefully it's a big number today, so that way I can brag or something. But okay, let me give me 1 second. I'll pull this up live, and I am going to share a screen capture. Hopefully I'm not. You don't feel like I'm. I don't want to get off on too much of a Towing.com tangent here, but the fact is just we hear all the time that people are they're not seeing what it is that they're trying to accomplish. And anyhow, I just want to make sure that I just show this. So this is SEMrush, and what I'm trying to show you here, if it will let me, is this is live from their data. So what this shows is Towing.com are organic traffic. So that means when people are searching for towing related keywords, in fact, I'll show you what those keywords are. This stuff is not hidden. It's just, so for example, towing service, towing company, tow truck near me, towing company near. These are giant keywords that are searched nationwide a lot. And we show up really well for those keywords, which in turn generates, see this long tail? It looks very familiar probably. The long-term success of Towing.com grows and grows and grows until nowadays we generate, right now, like I said, it's always over 500,000, but right now we're close to $1 million in search engine traffic, organic traffic. This traffic here is going to our featured members. Like it's traffic that's coming in there. They're searching for those keywords. Show me a towing company near me, and if that person searches and they're near you, they're going to find your company. So Ivan, I hope that kind of shows you a little bit of what I'm talking about there with this report. It's I wish it was easier. I wish I wish we were pay-per-click and we just say like, hey, we generated this many clicks, whatever else. The traffic's there. It varies in the area that it shows up in. So where the traffic comes in, it depends on who's searching for what keyword, and Towing.com shows a lot in the search engines, and that traffic works out. Some areas get a lot, some areas don't. But what happens is over time, that traffic builds. And actually what happens is the more companies in your area on Towing.com, the more it builds as well. So I know everybody always, whenever we ask them, like, would you refer people to Towing.com? They always say, yes, but not my competition. But the fact is you actually want your competition on there. Anyhow, so we were talking about building a website, what to put on it. Let's get over to, and I mentioned that I would show you, like, on that simple website, what should you add to it? And that is this right here. Work hard once. What's a way that you can work hard once what do you need to put on your website to make sure that you are generating business? Here you go. You just have basically a web. If you have different pages, the card one that I mentioned, that's like one page. I don't think you get multiple pages. You can put all this in different sections. As long as your page is long with lots of good text, it'll still give you a good amount of the benefit. You want to make sure you have some information on your homepage. People, show this, like about us. How did your company get started? Why did you start? Who are the people that are going to be your drivers, your owners? We do business with people, not with companies. You may have the world's greatest looking trucks, but ultimately, we want to know the people that we do business with. It's part of why I ever started to put my ugly bug out here on the web, because as much as I love Toby as a mascot, we do business with people. So tell them, why did you start? Then pricing. I say put pricing out there. I'm a huge advocate for it, but I know that some people don't. We're working on some tools to help with that, make it a little less painful. Services. Let me look over here, get a question from Ivan. Okay, he asked in the local pack, in the Google My Business piece, he asked, what about companies without an address? The answer to that is you need an address. To get the full effect, you really need to have an address. You won't be able to add yourself or claim a Google local listing without a physical address. There's ways to show up there based on your website, but a company that has a claimed listing with an address will always beat, should always beat a company without one. I see some areas in Chicago, New York, where that's not the case, and that's because these giant marketing companies come in and game the system. But you need to have an address. A lot of people worry that, especially in towing where you may do impounds or something, they worry that people will show up at their home or something. And I will completely admit that's a risk. But somehow there needs to be an address. I don't know the solution. Honestly, if you're trying to protect a address, I don't know what the solution is. I just know that to get the best result, you need to have an address. You need to add it to Google, claim it, and then that also needs to be on Towing.com. We don't make a big deal out of the address. Like, we don't flash it. We show the city, state, zip code all over the place, but we don't like show on Towing.com a street address all that much. It is there. It is visible. Google, of course, shows it. People can find it if they're searching, but realistically, they can find your address if they're dedicated at all. Like, it's not like it's most likely hidden. So anyhow, I wish I had an easy answer for you on that one, but the fact is the local address, you need to have an address for that to be most impactful. So on your website, so a little bit of a tangent. I know I'm up over an hour already. Feel free to drop off. I'm recording this. It's going to be on Facebook Live. You can come back in later. But I think this is important. The reason why we put these things on your website, the reason why these are listed here are because this is what your customers are looking for. Okay? Your entire purpose of your website, of the things on your Towing.com profile, are to give the customers what they're looking for. What's the first thing they do when they call you? How much is it? When are you available? Like, my goodness, why so many companies hide their pricing? Just it doesn't have to be accurate. Just put a price out there, even if it's, we don't do a tow under $85. Our average tow is $126, but you'll need to call us with specific details to get it. Like, just give them something, even if it's not specific. Because ultimately, they're just trying to get an idea. They're just trying to figure out, is this company in the ballpark or whatever of what I'm looking to spend? And you're going to save yourself all those tire kicking people looking for a $20 tow. Just by putting something out there like, hey, our minimum $65 or something. You will be like, our average is much higher. Hopefully that makes sense. But all we're trying to do is answer the questions that your customers have about your company before they ever ask them. You want that on your website. You want it on your Towing.com profile. You want it anywhere you can answer those questions. You're going to save yourself a bunch of time. And of course, on your website, add some testimonials. They're important. So those are the pages to add to your website. Hopefully those make sense. And I know they're a pain in the butt to do that, to add these. And you probably don't want to do it if you've not done a website up to this point. It's probably because you see it as a time-consuming, difficult thing. I get it. I hate working on my own websites, and we run an internet company. So, because it is a pain in the butt, but you work hard once, it's going to be worth it. Let me just show you a little bit of why. One of the things I hear from companies all the time when I talk to them about needing a website and spending the time to put these pieces out there, these things that I have listed, up here, they always say, yeah, but my site doesn't get much traffic, and to them, I like to show like these images. What if your website doesn't get a bunch of traffic? Well, if you had an opportunity for your business to sit in front of this group here, 15 customers, and say, here's my towing company, and they're looking and they're like, you are the center of attention. How much would 15 customers or 15 people, that matters, right? If you were public speaking and sitting in front of that audience, you would prepare for that. You would have answers ready for questions. Same with the group over here, 50 people. This is what it looks like. You may only get 50 people to your website, but that's what they look like. They're real people. They're your customers that are looking to you to be that authoritative person. Your awareness is 50 and they're looking to you. Give them the answers. Then, of course, even bigger if you, do 150 or 500. That's what those crowds look like. When you look at Google Analytics and things, we a lot of times think that these, you see 50, 150 people that come to your website in a month, and you're like, this is such a waste of time. Those are real people that are sitting their butts in their seats, looking to your company, trying to find more about you to where they can do business, refer you to whatever else. Take them seriously, answer the questions, work hard once, and get that information out there. It doesn't have to be even pretty. You just need to have it out there. So, and that's these things here. So, okay, hopefully that makes sense. That's your website. You can use the card. You can use any little cheap website, or you can of course find there's lots of good companies that target and want to, they have experience building towing websites. So we don't do that, but they have experience helping you get a good website. So possibly look into them. The other piece, and this is where this is one of the things that we do, or that is big with Towing.com. So it's not just Towing.com, but this is one of the things that you can put on your website. What are they looking for, and how can you put a guide out there that grows to where you're generating $7,000 in free business each month? What is it that you can do? Here's some ideas that you can put on your website. You, believe it or not, whether you're a rookie tower that runs a company or a stinking veteran, you are an expert. You're an expert. Hopefully you puff up your chest and go, yes, I am. Especially in my area, I am an expert. So whether you're certified for different certifications or whatever else, you can share your authority, what makes you different, with the world. You want to put those on your website if you can. I know sometimes that's a pain in the butt, but if you're going to do it, you might as well put it on your website. But here's some of the things that you can create. Top lists. Top reasons people call us for a tow. That's interesting content, right? And the answer for that. That would take you, 15 minutes to write them down, and then, you'd have to format them for the web. But here's the thing. Towing.com has sections on it for you to put this stuff on your Towing.com profile. And without going into a big old long rant of how, we have widgets and things. We call them widgets, or tools for towers, toolsfortowers.com. In fact, you can look into it. It's included in featured membership. You can show those frequently asked questions. When you spend time answering a question, you can show that stuff on your website. And when you update it on Towing.com, it updates it on your website. So every time you do this stuff, you can just publish it to your website through Towing.com. But then also, here's the important thing. Here's the secret. Here's some of the secret sauce that is Towing.com. It also publishes through Towing.com. So now you have this content nationwide. You're this expert showing up on Towing.com, and it's on your website. Anyhow, I get it. It's outside of the expertise of towing specifically, but these are some of the things you can do. That's why I wanted to share this. I hope this is helpful. What's a guide? What to have in your trunk to prepare for winter, so that way you don't get stuck or something. Some of the top videos when you search for towing related stuff are YouTube videos of people showing how to jumpstart a car. Your towing company needs to do that. Do that. That's free, and you do it all the time. You're not going to lose business because of it. What you're going to do is gain a lot of exposure, and you're going to be their trusted, authoritative guide in how to jumpstart a car. So I'm going to call you. I'm not going to go buy a jumpstart box or whatever. I'm going to call a towing company, but I'm going to give the business to the company that shows me they're authoritative in jumpstarting cars. All the same things. The video, it's your cell phone. Just pull it out and just roll with it. I'm using my laptop for this whole thing here. This is just my laptop sitting up on a stand. Anyhow, your phone has a great camera in it, which as a Towing.com member, you get a free hero video too. Email me if you need information on that. We make a commercial for your company. You can put that on your website. It's a commercial that should, anyhow. I try to help you out a lot on this stuff. But so where are some of the areas that you can create a piece of content that people would view and say, yes, they are a authoritative expert in my field? These are just some of the ideas, tips, checklists, what's some tricks and things. Hopefully that makes sense. Hopefully that's helpful. Those are just some of the ones I came up with for you. And as I mentioned, you can publish those right on your Towing.com profile, and we help you generate that exposure. If you have a brand new website and you put it on there, chances are it's not going to be found for a while. But if you put it on your website, put it on Towing.com, we link over to your website, like it's going to help you generate business for that. Then when people search for how do I jumpstart my car, and they're around you, and Google does their formulas and they localize the results, your company is going to be the one that's showing up for that because you're answering those customers' questions as an expert. So, okay. So to kind of wrap things up and to kind of bring it back home, what we've talked about during this so far is just the idea of simplifying the complicated mess that is internet marketing. And we've done that through talking about all you need is to increase your awareness and your authority. Those guides that you write, they increase your authority. You get them published and Google shows them, that increases your awareness. Now you're an authoritative, aware, like it's a perfect formula, and it's on the internet that can generate business for you long term. So these are things that there's very few towing companies out there doing that, but this outside of the towing industry, this is like everything giant, like it's okay. It's a secret sauce. You can apply it and win with it, but it is a long game. Short term, yes, you're probably going to need to look more at a pay-per-click or things that can generate business right now, unless you have your expenses covered in other ways. But when you're looking at that chart, what are the things that you could be doing right now? Well, pay-per-click may be a lot of it. Posting what you're doing on social can be a little piece of it as well, but then you need to be doing those little things, working hard once occasionally to get that big, long brand building brand and business. I hope that makes sense. I hope that's helpful. Some of the largest companies out there, here in Cincinnati, just north of us, is Sandy's Towing in Dayton. They're this giant towing company, one of the largest, actually one of the most authoritative, I will say. And they're one of the few that do this stuff. They built their brand as an authoritative expert using this kind of thing. So if you want to be the big company, or even just charge higher prices, or to be able to charge your rates to run your company and get the freedom and flexibility that you want to have the life that you want. If you want that freedom and flexibility, you get it through these type of things, and you don't want to be stuck needing Google. I don't want you to be stuck even with Towing.com. I want you to have the freedom and flexibility to do what you want when you want. I just think that we create a great way to help you in all the other things that you should be doing. That's realistically, it's just hard to communicate the complexity of what it is that we're doing, supporting you as you grow your business. I'm just going to browse through these real quick, try to make sure I got, because we have YouTube and Facebook both broadcasting. I want to make sure I didn't miss any questions. So I will go back to Ivan's just real quick, kind of a Q&A. How can you target a location or an area even if you don't have an address? Let me give you a little bit of a tactic on that. I think you need to have a registered address. I already made that clear. But let me just give you a tactic of how you can get around it a little bit. On your website, you need to have, here's the locations we serve, and you need to have addresses on those locations, like three at most. So if I was doing this in Cincinnati, Ohio, I would probably do something like, we're happy to serve Paul Brown Stadium at this address. Now, what you're trying to do is you're trying to give Google a place, a location that is an area that you serve, so they have an idea of where you are. You don't want to put too many. You put more than three, it's not even going to have a chance. And so you want to have addresses. You need to have addresses is what it comes down to. Google needs to know where to put a pin on the map and say this company is this area. You can do other cities and say like, we serve these cities. Don't get carried away. You got to pick and choose your battles. Choose the most important ones, depending on where you are in your growth. If you're a big company, you can go after the biggest cities in the U.S. If you're located there. Don't target cities outside of your area. But like, let's say I was starting a towing company here, I might target a smaller suburb of Cincinnati and target that and make sure that I generate the business there and show up in the search engines well there, and then I can expand from there. It's low-hanging fruit. Got to get that basic stuff. Any other questions? Feel free to add them in. I'm happy to continue to do a little Q&A. But I hope that this has been helpful. I know I covered a lot of stuff, going over content marketing and stuff. Realistically, what it is I want to help your company. I created Towing.com to help local towing companies. That's where my heart is. It's where the company's heart is. And when we say that Towing.com is out to help towing companies win, it's what makes our freaking hearts beat. Like, it's really what we stand for. And I tell you what, if somebody here in my company showed me that wasn't the case, they wouldn't be here. Like, you got to have a heart for small business if you're going to be here working and doing what it is that we do. We steal these giant brands, companies like AAA or some giant brand could own Towing.com. They could own Towing.com and they could do whatever they want to with it. But what we've done is we've taken Towing.com and we are sharing it with towing companies is what we're trying to do. There is authority and a benefit to having Towing.com that shouldn't be owned by a single company. It needs to be shared with a larger industry. And that's what we're out to do. We do this in other industries as well. And it's just part of kind of this take it to the man attitude that I have. I don't like big business. We're a small company. We have 9 people that work here. Most of us are marketing and technical, and we're doing things and trying to keep up on all the little details of marketing. And we do things trying to stay up to date to help your company so you can concentrate on your main business. Some things work, some things don't. But I guarantee it's worth more if we're the one experimenting for your company than if you were to try to take time away from serving your customers or doing your sales to learn the stuff that we're trying to do. So hopefully we help you in your marketing. I hope that you can measure it in a way that shows you value. What I do know is we do help our members show up higher in the search engines, and we generate a boatload of traffic. That's all I can just truly say that I know. So, okay, let me see here. Just another question came in from Jason. Maximum 3 zip codes serviced on my website. Let me see how to answer that. You don't want to, if you have physical locations in 100 places, you show all those locations. You show 100 locations. If you have 0 physical locations or 1, you probably want to stick with your one main address, and then you can mention the other areas that you serve passively. Like we're happy to serve Sharonville, Westchester, and whatever other cities. As far as addresses or mentioning specific zip codes, those are going to be things that that's almost like a workaround to if you don't have an address. Google just wants to know where to put you on a map. If you've ever done a search for, well, I'm sure you have. When you do a search for towing in your local area, the companies they show on Google are not the closest companies. They don't do it based on location. That all we do, everything we do is 100% based on location, who's closest. Towing or Google does not do that. They do it based on some crazy formula that they create, and so it's. But you'll notice that sometimes companies will be pretty far away, and they still show them number one. If you put multiple addresses out there into the Google world, as if you have locations there, and if you don't, you're going to confuse Google. So instead of Google being able to say, we know they're here, we're confident of it, now they're like, we know they're, we know that they're here somewhere. And you don't want that. You don't want to confuse Google because they're giant, they process a lot of data, and they can be confused quite easily, and then it takes forever. I say, if you're going to feed Google addresses and you don't have a physical address there, don't go over 3. There's just it's just too much data. It's just too much data to feed Google. You can, but that's just my opinion. Also, like you can test and try whatever. It's just every time you do something, it's going to take Google, depending on how often they're by your site, it's going to take them like 30, 45 days to really pick up on that information. On our site, things happen pretty quick, but we're Towing.com's giant. So your individual website will be slower. I hope that answers your question. I don't know. Jason, I don't. Let me know. You can email me Drew at Towing.com. So if you have one location, only do one. Don't add more. Don't confuse them. Just add your one location. Confidently stake a flag in the ground and say, this is where we are, register that with Google, and that should be that. Anything you do beyond that needs to be out of either confidence or kind of fear. Are you confident because you're a giant company with a great search engine presence that you can expand it? Or are you fearful that you don't have an address and you need to do something to show up in the search engines? In that case, you can do that. So hopefully that helps. Now, as far as Towing.com, I always recommend just doing one address, your main one. You show up in a 40-mile radius. We feed it to Google in that entire radius. So just do the one. But if you do multiples, then that's up to you, especially if you have multiple locations. But okay. Well, any other questions, or whether you're watching this as a recording, feel free to ask questions. We always monitor our Facebook page, and it may take us a day or so, but we will answer your question either on Facebook, through email, or on a future Drew Live. Hopefully this is valuable to you. Ask any questions you want. I'm not against doing this like weekly, and I'm not against even doing Zoom calls where we can actually see each other. However we want to do this, especially right now as we're just dealing with turmoil, I just think it's important for us to increase our efforts, not just Towing.com's efforts, but yours. Like hopefully you're spending your time not just stressing, because I know there's a lot of stress. Hopefully you're spending your time trying to grow your company and do the things. And hopefully I gave you some things that you can do to grow your company. So I appreciate you joining us. I know that we've had numerous people that have been in and been out. Thanks for joining us. Again, I'm Drew Walsh with Towing.com, and this has been Drew Live for May 6th, 2020. Take care. Hope your business is successful, and I hope Towing.com helps your company win. Take care.